Today we're going to be visiting the Whipple Museum of the History of Science, also the History of Science. It's just off Downing Street in Cambridge, very close to the Zoology Museum. It's a very small museum, much like the Museum of Scientific Instruments in Oxford, which is where the Ashmolean was founded. It's the old building for that museum. This is a comprehensive collection of scientific instruments, and it covers, as you come in, you have a large hall and you have a lot of old instruments, like you have the astrolabes in the case there, you have a mechanical recreation of the solar system. In the background there you can see a model of the human body. You have telescopes and various tools for measuring everything from electric current to calculating numbers. The collection covers a lot of the instruments used by the University of Cambridge, but also some very ancient, like some of those astrolabes are Arabic from maybe 400 years ago. You see this mini solar system here is a few hundred years old. Beautiful theodolites and tools for measuring weights and heights and volumes and pretty much anything you can imagine measuring or observing in science is covered in this museum. If you're of a scientific bent, then this museum is definitely well worth a visit. If you're into microscopes, beautiful collection of microscopes. Telescopes, pretty good collection, but also things like you have sample cases and tools there for taking a sliver of a material to mount on the microscope. And you can see the clock measures the various positions. Lovely telescope there. And you can see the clock is actually working. Some very interesting medical instruments here. I think that's a trapena for taking a bone sample. And there's certainly plenty to see, which is interesting. And there's a few items where you wonder quite what they are. An example, the glass sphere there suspended in that black machine is for measuring the sun. As the sun passes over, it kind of draws onto the paper. And here various computing systems and forms of measure. This is a magic cube. It's a maths puzzle effectively. And you might recognise the ZX Spectrum there if you're a little older than me. I think that's the 81. And here models, so models of molecules, of sections of a body, various atoms, loads of samples of different creatures. This was from the Cavendish laboratory, which was instrumental in understanding atoms and learning some of the building blocks that became the atomic age. Here there's another room with large collection of devices for measuring and observing. It's really beautiful examples here. I love the globes. There's a whole room of globes upstairs, which we'll get to in a little while. You can see for measuring the stars, for measuring the sun. That's a collapsible globe. Is it effectively a double parasol, which gives you, when pulled out, gives you a transportable globe of the stars, I believe. And here's various eyepieces for seeing things that are close, things that are far. instruments that you'd see with a civil engineer today, or like with very old microscopes, very different to the ones you'd see today, but beautiful examples and all very well maintained and kept. Even if you're only slightly interested in science, seeing some of these instruments really is fascinating. University really does have a large collection. You can see here some very old and in some cases very large devices that really have been kind of thrown away over the years but maintained here, and consumer electronics as well. So there's a whole display case here dealing with effectively things that were sold to the average day person rather than the pure scientist. And very interesting looking back in time at some of the scientific items. Upstairs, a whole room covering different types of globe from different eras, and you can see there the map of the solar system as a moving clockwork mechanical system. Various calculators, some very recognizable today, some very much not so. Forms of measure and calculation. There's a recreation of a Victorian parlour where educated people would think and consider the world. And here's the globes room. It isn't really done justice by this video. It's a large collection of globes, both of the Earth and of various planets and moons, but also of insides of the Earth, of stars from the outside, different mathematical ways of displaying the Earth, like there's the hexagonal one over there. And some of them have the raised pieces, some are geopolitical maps, some are geological, and really just a beautiful collection of very well preserved, historically important globes. And possibly my favourite room in the museum, although it doesn't look as good or exciting as some of the instruments in the others. I did find the globes very interesting. Can't remember the last time I've seen a globe of Mars or of other planets in the universe. And in mechanical representations. Really a striking room in a very interesting museum. I'd thoroughly recommend it. It's open 5 days a week. If you're in the area visiting one of the colleges or the Fitzwilliam, then it really is a very small museum. You can easily take it in 20 minutes to 40 minutes, but it is well worth a visit just to see that, look back in time over the history of science and really see how science was observed, measured, understood, modelled, and the beauty of some of the old instruments as well. So definitely one of my recommended visit museums. And if you're not in Cambridge, you're in Oxford, I'd say next to the Sheldonian there's an excellent museum that's quite comparable, and that was a little zoetrope there. It's a black loop with holes in it, and there's slits in it. As you spin it through the slits you see the picture, and it gives you the effect of a moving image. So don't forget to hit that subscribe, check out our museum playlist, or maybe some of the other videos coming very soon, and subscribe for more.